Jim, I'm telling you, there's no way they can trace that misappropriation of funds back to us.
That accountant Johnson can trace it to us.
But Johnson's disappeared. We've taken care of that.
And where is he now?
I don't know. Somewhere in South America.
You sure he didn't contact Connor?
No, I don't think so.
That's not good enough, Pete. I told you to find Johnson and shut him up for good.
Well, look, if our man isn't able to find Johnson, Connor's not going to be able to find him either.
I don't like it, Pete. Connor may already have found him.
No. Connor would have said something if he had seen Johnson.
Not necessarily, Peter. He might be playing a waiting game, waiting for us to trip ourselves up.
Connor hasn't got time to wait. They're about to throw him out of the company. Look, it's in all the papers.
Still don't like it. About things being up in the air like this. Now, I was counting on you to have these loose ends all tied up.
I'm telling you, there are no loose ends.
What about Paige Carrington?
Well, Paige is a different matter.
What do you mean?
She told Connor that she saw me coming out of Alex's office the night he suffered his first stroke.
This mess is getting thicker and thicker. When did she tell him that?
Yesterday. Connor questioned me about it last night.
You didn't call me?
I didn't think it was necessary. I mean, look, Jim, I denied being there when Alex suffered his stroke.
Did Connor say that Paige told him you were there?
No, he said my name was the last one in Alex's appointment book the day of his stroke, but I knew it was Paige who told him, and I was right.
You think he bought your story?
Well, I'm sure he did. Jim, I'm telling you, there's nothing to worry about.
Well, obviously there is. Or he wouldn't have wanted to see me.
Well, still could be about the tanker.
Yeah. It could be about embezzlement and murder.
Have you checked with Fields in accounting?
No, why? Did he come up with something since yesterday?
Yeah, he figured out how the money was misappropriated. He just hasn't been able to prove it yet.
Well, Johnson must have been one crack accountant to come up with it at all.
Well, Fields' theory is that Johnson either stumbled on the whole thing accidentally or he's been spending the last several months checking out the Lawrence and Parnell account.
Well, if it's the latter, considering that Johnson's work file is gone, it could take Fields months to come up with that proof.
Come on, Grant, at least we're making progress. A few days ago, we didn't even know what company started, right?
Is Lawrence coming up from Galveston?
Yeah?
Was he surprised at the phone call?
No.
Well, what was the excuse you gave him for the meeting?
None, really. I just told him I wanted to see him immediately, and he said he'd come up.
Ah. Well, how much are you going to tell him?
Well, I don't know. I was hoping he'd tell me something.
Well, I wouldn't count on that. If he's anything like Parnell, he'll be pretty closed-mouthed.
In any case, I'm just going to follow my instincts, okay?
I wonder if he's going to report to Justin.
I doubt it. Justin probably met Lawrence on some business, but they're certainly not friends.
Listen, you take care of yourself. These two guys are playing for high stakes.
Well, I agree. I don't tend to lose. Hello, Jim. Been a long time now since you've been in Houston, hasn't it?
I'm spending more and more time out of the country.
Oh, don't tell me you're getting bored with the States now.
Oh, not that. Just figured, well, what with the economy being the way it is, it'd be wise to extend my foreign operations. I've turned over most of my company's domestic business to my associate, Mr. Parnell. I'm sure you two have met.
Yes, we have. Have a seat, okay?
I was sorry to be out of the country when Alex passed away. Besides doing business together, I considered Alex a very dear friend.
I sure miss Alex a lot.
Yeah, tried to make arrangements to attend the funeral, but just impossible.
We received your flowers, and Grant told me about the note you sent to Iris.
Well, wasn't much consolation. I just wanted her to know that I was thinking about her.
Well, it's real thoughtful of you.
In Iris's thank you note to me, she mentioned what a comfort Grant had been to her.
Mm-hmm.
Is he moving to Houston for good?
Well, I think so. He's been looking around for a horse farm to buy.
Alex was always very fond of his brother. I hope they had time to spend together before Alex...
Yeah, they did.
Well, I hardly play golf anymore. It doesn't seem the same since Alex is gone. We played regularly for, 20 years.
I used to hear some real crazy stories about those great golf matches you two had.
I was very distressed. hear about the charges against you, Ryan?
No formal charges have been made.
Well, I consider the publicity very unfortunate for you and the company.
I sure agree, but I intend to prove those accusations false.
Yeah. No way to do that?
Well, I'm not too sure.
If anything I could help you with, Ryan, you just ask.
Well, there is one thing. Maybe you could tell me more about your associate, Peter Parnell.
I'd be happy to tell you anything I know.
Do you know if he was with Alex the night he suffered his first stroke?
Just what exactly are you accusing Parnell of?
Well, I'm just stating the facts. Parnell was the last person to see Alex the night he had his first stroke. I think he was with Alex when the stroke occurred.
Well, I don't know anything about that, but I doubt if Parnell would have stood by while Alex was having a stroke.
One would hope not, but right now there are just too many questions.
What kind of questions?
Like, why did Parnell lie about the meeting? And why was he talking to Alex at that time of the night? What was so important about the meeting it couldn't take place the next morning?
Well, I don't have any answers. I'll certainly discuss it with Peter.
How well do you know Parnell?
Oh, as well as one can know a business associate.
Well, I should think you'd want to know him very well. After all, you're entrusting with part of your company, aren't you?
Well, he's a very hard worker. Perhaps a little too ambitious, a little too impatient.
How long has he been with the company?
I was fairly new to the operation. When we met, I thought he was a bright, eager young man who could take over some of my responsibilities so I have more time for my foreign operations. Ryan, are you suspecting Parnell of misappropriating the funds you're accused of misappropriating?
No, listen, I would never accuse anyone without any proof. I'm just a little puzzled by his actions the night of Alex's stroke, that's...
Well, Ryan, it is my company. If there were any criminal activity going on, I'm positive I'd have heard about it.
But maybe not, huh?
Oh, I would. I would have taken action myself. Now, Ryan, your uncle and I were very close friends. I never betrayed his trust, and I certainly do not intend to betray yours. I'll talk to Peter, see if I can clear up this question of he was in with Alex when he suffered a stroke, and I'll get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, Grant stopped by earlier. And he seems quite optimistic about Ryan's chances of proving his innocence.
Well, his chances are certainly better now that we know who is misappropriating the funds from World Oil.
Your investigator hasn't found Mr. Johnson yet.
No, but Johnson said Parnell was the key.
Do you know Parnell?
Not very well. He's the man that Paige Carrington moved in with, you know.
Oh, that's right. We saw them together up at the top of the World Club.
What I do know about him, I don't particularly like.
But, honey, you've known Jim Lawrence for years.
Uh-huh.
Do you think Jim Lawrence is guilty? Or do you think Parnell misused the funds without his knowledge?
Well, I don't think Parnell acted on his own, but just a guess on my part. Sure hope I'm wrong about Lawrence.